Welcome to the cockpit. My name's Ryan and I'll be your pilot tonight. Jet fans, it is looking bleak out there. We'll get into it in just a little bit. I know I didn't do my top 5 takeaways for yesterday's game. I was a little busy, a little frustrated with what I saw. I'll probably come out with that tonight or tomorrow. And I'll do the best I can, trying to bring some positivity to this whole system. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. I see Callum, D-Mac, Lame Cactus, Mitt, Ed, FM, Jerry, Mike, Jack, Magnus, Matt Curtis, my boy. He says eject Adam Gase with our emojis. Ugh. Eric, Jerry, NY Sports MC, Mini Mamba, thank you so much for tuning in. Guys, before we get started, a little bit of housekeeping. Jets Talk is proud to announce our new sponsor for the NFL season, MyBookie.ag. This NFL season, anyone who signs up at MyBookie.ag and uses code JT receives a 100% bonus match up to $1,000. Just use promo code JT. Bet with me, win some money. MyBookie.ag, promo code JT. Double your money today. MyBookie.ag, promo code JT. There's a link to that in the description down below. Guys, I have a new shirt available. Someone's going to win it at the end of this stream, along with a 4-pack of my new favorite hemp infused drink, Kalo. They're helping me out. They're giving me a few drinks to give out to guys. For this particular giveaway, you are going to have to be 18 and live in the United States because it has CBD in it. And I'm not exactly sure the legality of giving it out to an under 18-year-old on a live stream. So, gonna wind up being an 18 US only kind of thing for this one in particular. But yeah, guys, we're gonna give away a 4-pack of Kalo, and I'm gonna give away one of these Just End the Suffering shirts. That's how I feel watching our Jets yesterday. It started right from the beginning. First play from scrimmage. 80-yard touchdown. I was like, so this is how today's going to go. This is how it's going to go. Now, I don't normally break down film on my channel, but it might be something that I do in this particular game because it's something that really caught me, something that I saw pretty blatantly in a pretty bad weakness for the New York Jets. So basically, the 80-yard run right off the bat. Oh, we got someone sending a super chat already. V-Man, what do you say? You say, send Adam Gase to Siberia. By the way, here's a French tank joke. French tanks have 4 gears, 3 in reverse and 1 in forward in case they get attacked in the rear. Oh, jeez. The French and their tanks. Isn't that usually like a Polish joke? Is that how that works? I don't know. French joke. Yeah, are the Jets tanking? That's going to be a big topic of discussion tonight. What would the Jets do with the number 1 pick? I'm sure that's going to be a hot topic. Firing Adam Gase, that's going to be a hot topic. You know, the state of the team. Where are we as a franchise? There's a lot of issues going on with the New York Jets. Now, like I was saying, the first play from scrimmage, 80-yard touchdown, right off the bat. I retweeted it today. I believe it was Rich Cimini that sent it out. The 49ers got a helmet on all of our players on that play, which means 10 players were right on 10 players, which means there should have been 1 player left to tackle Mostert. And guess who that 1 player was? I'll give you a hint. That same player blew his assignment on the 3rd and 31 that got the 49ers first down as well. A player who was not on our team last week. That's right, I'm talking about Ogletree, the linebacker who's filling in for all our injured inside linebackers, and it showed. It was bad. He cost the Jets 2 monumental plays right off the bat. It was... I'm not going to claim in any sort of fashion that the Jets should have had any shot in that game whatsoever. But those two plays certainly probably the most impactful plays and easily the the easiest ones to kind of point to. Now, that said, we basically lost to the Kirkland brand 49ers. If you guys don't know what Kirkland brand is the knockoff brand for Costco that they use, and basically that's who we lost to for the 49ers. No Jimmy Garoppolo, no Kittle, no Deebo Samuel. Everyone. D Ford's out. Bosa, torn Achilles. Solomon Thomas, torn Achilles. Who else am I missing? Richard Sherman was out. It was absolutely terrible. For a New York team or a Jets team that had a little bit of like hope. Like, hey, maybe we'll show some fight. A little bit of bounce back. The 49ers aren't looking so healthy. Maybe we got a shot at this, in a weird roundabout way. No. The Jets never stood a shot the entire game. So where do we put the blame? The offensive line looked pretty good. Now, they were missing some top pass rushers. They're missing 3 of their top 4 guys on the edge presence with Bosa, Solomon Thomas, and D Ford. So how do you really grade too critically? It's hard. I'm happy with what I got out of Becton yesterday. We'll go over some of the Pro Football Focus grades and whatnot that our players are sort of sitting at right now. I was relatively pleased with what I got out of Sam Darnold for the most part. Given the circumstances. We had 4 receivers dress for yesterday's game, and 2 of those guys, in Hogan and Perriman, go down with injury. So we have literally, we have like 4 tight ends. We have no Bell. This team's rough. This is going to be hard to watch, Jeff fans. I'm not overreacting by saying this team could very well be like a 3-13 team. I don't know if there's a team that I can see this current roster beating under the circumstances, under the morale that I'm currently seeing right now. It's ugly. 2613 Mike, thank you so much for the super chat. He says, I think the reason Gase's teams have so many injuries is because they don't want to play for this effing guy. That is something that Greenbean brought up. And the point Greenbean was making was that when you have nagging injuries or you have like an injury that you could play through, if you're on a bad team, guys are less likely to play through those injuries. On a good team, if you're the Seahawks, if you're the Chiefs, guys that are a little banged up, a little nicked up, they're more likely to play through injuries or more likely to hide injuries. Now, I'm not saying that's really a good thing, but maybe we would have less injuries if we didn't have Adam Gase as a head coach. I wish I could find the chart that I saw in the Jet Nation forums the other day, because it actually showed from 2013 through now the most injury teams across the league in all 32, and the Jets were right around the top 3. So this is actually something that's dated prior to Adam Gase. It's something that we've definitely noticed a lot over the course of the last year and a half, a year and 2 weeks. So what do we do? What's the solution, Jet fans? I'm sick of going through another season with us just being a laughingstock. And it's frustrating as all hell because you finally get like some semblance of a GM. You think that Sam Darnold's going to take this next step. I'm very concerned. So let's get into the Gase thing. We'll go into the Gase thing right off the bat. I'm not a fan. I'm not a fan. I wasn't a fan when we signed him. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt at the end of last year, beginning of this year. I wasn't going to overreact week 1. I see week 2. Still not liking what I see. I think they're playing way too conservatively with Sam. I'm okay with short throws, high completion throws. But I want to see them uncork Sam. Like, I really liked the end of the game, watching Sam run around and just whip the ball around. Now, yeah, they're playing a different kind of defense at that point, but at the same time, Sam has all these skills, and he's mobile. Like, we're not seeing any sort of runs from him. We're not seeing any kind of, exciting plays. And I understand we are very low on the wide receiver, like, totem pole as far as our depth goes. And maybe once Mims comes back, that changes a little bit. Maybe we were just playing it like feed it to Gore, feed it to Gore, feed it to Gore, because that's all we had. I don't know. I look around the league and I see Gardner Minshew throwing 3 touchdowns 2 weeks in a row. I look around and I see literally every young quarterback outperforming Sam Darnold. And I look at Sam and I'm like, the guy's not bad. Like, I still believe in Sam. I'm not giving up on Sam. I'm just confused as to why our team seems so much more inept. And especially when you look at Ryan Tannehill. Ryan Tannehill last year, you could have said that was a fluke year. He's playing really good again. So I have hope that if we lose or if we move on from Adam Gase, Sam Darnold could recover. Now for me, when's our bye week? What is it, week 8 or 9, somewhere around there? I would give Gase until the bye week, I think. If the Jets are as bad as we think they're probably going to be, I would pull Gase. I would fire him mid-season. It's something that Johnsons have never done. Johnsons have never fired a coach in season. The reason I am absolutely doing this is because you need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt what you have in Sam Darnold. I believe in Sam Darnold. That doesn't mean in 14 more games that I'm going to believe in Sam Darnold. I need to see him with another offensive coordinator, Jim Bob Cooter. Let Greg Williams take over the team. Let Jim Bob Cooter be the offensive coordinator. Let him work with Sam a little bit, call some plays that he might be more comfortable with. And if we see a pretty sharp improvement in Sam during that time, then for me, even if the Jets get the first pick, I don't take Trevor Lawrence. I would only take Trevor Lawrence if I believe Sam is not the franchise quarterback. He's still the second youngest quarterback in this league. There's plenty of time for him to get better. And I would rather us build around Sam using all our assets and build this team up. And then eventually, if Sam is not the guy, go all in on a quarterback. I just don't think it's going to be Lawrence this year. I do think the Jets have a pretty good shot at getting that number 1 overall pick. It's going to be a whirlwind for us, for sure. I think if it were me, I would look to move back to maybe 3 or 4, pick up an extra first-round pick, or get some kind of bidding war for Trevor Lawrence going, and then draft either the most premier linebacker, or not linebacker, I guess, edge rusher, or perhaps you take the tackle from Oregon if he's there at 3 or 4. I don't believe I would take Lawrence at 1. I would rather trade out of it right now. Now, who knows, down the line, if I'm looking at 2-14 and Sam is just throwing duds left and right, I reserve the right to change my opinion. I absolutely say that. At the bottom of my little signature in all my forums says that. I reserve the right to change my opinion based on new information provided. So, you guys are saying Jamar Chase. I like Jamar Chase. I have no problem if that's the route they go. I would prefer Juju in free agency and Thuney. That's kind of the 2 players I want to look at. And then you have Mims coming back. I would rather spend a second rounder on a wide receiver, and then use our first really high up pick to take an edge rusher or a cornerback. That's where I would like to go in the first round. Now, obviously, depending on how you kind of grade everyone out, I love CeeDee Lamb this past year, so I'm not afraid to take a receiver in the first round. But I think there's some really big areas of need that we need to address. That said, if you want to say quarterback is our biggest area of need, and we need wide receivers and everything to kind of help him, Sam should be able to show an elevated level of play and kind of make the players around him better. That said, not the roster we have. It is very bad. It is a very, very, very bad roster. So, oh, Jesus Christmas. What are we talking about in there? I don't know why everyone is mad at Douglas. I'm not mad at Douglas. I'm bummed we didn't go for a second wide receiver in the draft, but this is kind of beyond him. I wish our draft wasn't hurt so bad. You're talking Zuniga's out, Mims is out, Clark's out, Hall's out. Who else am I missing here? And then the other guys, the punter looks good. That's what we're kind of hanging our hat on. Charlie says, at least we can re-sign Marcus May now. I would like to re-sign Marcus May. He's played out of his mind. Let's talk about the positives for a second. We're going to get into the doom and gloom. I'm sure I'll take all your phone calls around 9:30 or around 8:30. and we'll get into it a little bit more. But the positives that I saw yesterday, I thought, May left a few plays out there. Bless Austin, left a few plays out there. I'm still happy with what we got out of them. I really liked what I got out of Quinnen Williams. I think this was his best game as a pro. That said, he is going against a backup center. It's not ideally, the best situation. He did get 2 sacks. Little surprised he didn't get flagged for the low hit on the play where Garoppolo got hurt. But very happy with the strip sack later in the game too. Now he's starting to look like a 3rd overall pick. That's what we said. We said, look, 1 year into this, let's look at Quinnen and let's reassess. There's a ton of defensive tackles across the league that did not start out very good. And Quinnen projects to be a freak. Hopefully that's kind of what we wind up getting, because he was putting a lot of pressure in that A gap. We're going to need that moving forward. Sam, at one point, had a pretty high completion percentage. I don't know what it actually ended up being. I have to go look at it. But man, it was look, there's not a lot to take away from yesterday's game. If you can't move the ball with a team that's literally dropped 5 of their top 8 guys on defense, or 5 of their top 11. Yeah, TJ. Van Roten does not look very good right now. We are going to need an upgraded guard, which is kind of what we've been talking about for a while. That's why I'm big on Thuney. Dude doesn't get hurt. Weaken a division rival. Guys, if you want your chance to win, a Just End the Suffering shirt. I have them for sale on the jetstalk.com website. So if you want to check it out, you can get it there. But if you want your chance to win, you have to answer this question, and I have to send it to my Instagram. That's how we're going. We're going to Instagram tonight. What was the player who first tore his ACL in the Jets-San Francisco game? There's a bunch of guys that got hurt and had knee injuries, but there's one player, real big player, Jets almost had a shot to draft him. Who was the player? Send me a message in my Instagram, and I'll get you entered to win a hat, shirt, or mug, or a Just End the Suffering Sadness shirt. That's where I brought it out. Now you guys are answering it in there. Oh, my buddy, New York Jets Media. What's up, dude? Check out his stuff. He's got some new merch over there on the Jets Media. We've been talking about linking up for a while now. We've probably gone back and forth 2 or 3 times. We'll get something set up. We'll get him in here at some point. Minnie Mama says everyone that said Bosa is incorrect. Certainly the answer I was looking for. How do we fix the wide receiver room, says Juan Pablo Reynoso Moraga. I would say this. The wide receiver room is probably as good as we're going to get it this year, because it's not like we're pulling AB off the streets after his 8-game suspension. He's not coming here. I don't want him here. Are we trading for someone? I don't think this team should really be trading away assets, given where they're currently at. I don't know. I like Robinson. I like Juju. I don't think either of those guys are going to be traded right now unless Allen Robinson kind of throws a real big hissy fit. I think we're going to have to wait until the offseason. And that hurts. That means the Jets are going another 14 games with the current roster they have. We just got to get healthy. That's what it's got to be. You need to have the health. You need Perriman back healthy. You need Mims back healthy. You need Crowder back healthy. When you're throwing to the likes of... I have nothing against Berrios. I thought he played well for who he is, but he's not a top 3 receiver. Sam was throwing to guys that we do not see on other teams' practice squads. That was how bad our wide receiver weapons were. Frank Gore looked all right. He looked okay. I genuinely think when Bell comes back, I would use Bell as a wide receiver more so than as a running back. like, as much as you want to have Bell get as many touches as possible, I think he's more valuable to us in the receiving game, and I think Gore actually plays better in the style in which we run him. Now, if you think you're going to get rid of Adam Gase, then it doesn't matter. Then try, Le'Veon Bell however you want. David, my favorite Scottish New York Jets fan. Yesterday's game was so hard to watch. Surely Gase has to go. That's going to be a huge topic, I think, when we start going to the phones at 8:30. I am. If the Jets were to come out today and be like, "Yeah, no, Gase, sorry, you're done," wouldn't beat an eyelash. I'm not going to lose sleep over this. We need, because of us going through Sam's third year right now, we need to know beyond a shadow of a doubt if Sam Darnold is our franchise quarterback. And I don't think we're going to get that definitive answer with Gase at the helm. I think we're going to have to pull the trigger. We're going to have to get rid of him midseason, and I think we're going to have to allow Jim Bob Cooter or someone else run the offense and just see if Sam has some kind of spark under a different coordinator. Now, it's not a full really gauge, and if you're doubting Sam, and you get the first pick, by all means take Trevor Lawrence or whatever quarterback you deem at that point. I don't want to give up on Sam right now, week 2, with everything going on, and I don't want to get burnt. I really believe in Sam, but I'm also not going to fall victim to blind loyalty. Elijah Pemberton, thank you for the super chat. He says, "Fire Gase. Trevor is the better quarterback, similar to Rosen Murray. We shouldn't pass on a generational quarterback for a potential good quarterback. It's sad, but it's necessary." Look, you can't. You cannot pass on a generational type talent. If you think that's what Trevor Lawrence is and he's the guy and you believe in it, then by all means, pull the trigger on him, and then you trade Sam for whatever you can get. I think you have to do that if you're Joe Douglas. I think there's something to be said for having the cheap rookie contract anyway, but you look around the league. Who are the good quarterbacks in this league? They are the mobile guys. Kyler Murray, Deshaun Watson, Patrick Mahomes, Lamar Jackson. These guys are running all over the field and just causing chaos for everyone involved. I believe Sam is mobile. Like, that's why I'd like to see him run a little bit more. He's not going to be like one of those guys, but if you can have him in almost like a Donovan McNabb kind of runner, like a stronger kind of guy, like Donovan McNabb was more of a runner, I guess, or someone kind of mobile that could roll out like a Tony Romo, someone in that realm. That's how I would like to see Sam used. As far as Trevor goes, I'm leery of him. I'm worried the Jets are going to ruin him if they don't build a team around him, and I feel like we're just going to be back in the same position pretty soon. So let's kind of keep building the roster. Let's see what we got. We got to grade out this whole team throughout the rest of this year. It's going to be tough. Morton B, thank you for the super chat. He says, "If David is your favorite Scottish fan, can I be your favorite English fan? If Gase goes mid-season, who do you eye for later on? Bieniemy, Roman?" Greg Roman's my guy. That's who I would like. I think he has shown the ability to plan an offense around the talent he has, which is what I think we really need. He built his offense, so the quarterbacks he's had under him that have shown success. Tyrod Taylor had a good season. You have Alex Smith, Colin Kaepernick, Lamar Jackson. Like, these are all offenses that needed to be bent and shaped around the quarterbacks that are running them, which is what every offense should be anyway. But he seems to have it dialed in a way that we have not seen. And I think the connection between Roman and potentially Joe Douglas with the whole Ravens kind of connection, hopefully there's something there. I know Douglas still has a lot of friends in that organization. And if Roman believes in Sam, maybe he comes here. If the Jets wind up with the first overall pick, maybe he sees Trevor Lawrence as his Lamar Jackson to an extent. Different kind of players, but, mobile. Gets to make his move. It's going to be interesting. Jets are going to be a really good landing spot for a head coach. We just need a lot of talent. But you can shape it however way you want. Chris Clark, thank you for the super chat. He goes, I'm a Bills fan, but I feel bad for you guys. So here. Thank you for the $2. Yeah, guys, we stink. You Bills, that Bills team is no joke. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch this year. I'm not as salty against the Bills as maybe some other people are. I'm more salty against the Patriots because they've just been so dominant for 20 years. So I actually kind of enjoy watching the Bills play, aside from when they, beat the snot out of us. What are you guys talking about? What about Urban Meyer? Says Charlie. I really like Urban Meyer. I'd be all about that. I don't know if he'd come out of retirement for us. I know he's got some he had a bunch of issues going on with Ohio State at some point, and then he wound up retiring because of that. I got music playing in my ear now. What the hell's going on? Get that out of there. I saw Doug Peterson's name thrown out in there, Charlie Morrow. Would I take him? Sure, I would take Doug Peterson, especially over Gase. Didn't Greg Roman coach the Bills? He did. He was the offensive coordinator under Rex, if I'm not mistaken, which is when he had Tyrod. Now, sort of kind of figure out what you think about that. Could be a good thing, could be a bad thing. JB Gamblers says Becton is looking like a stud. Yeah, when I look at this roster, the three guys that I see as okay, they've got it, or at least they're pseudo untouchable. It's definitely Quinnen Williams. It's definitely Becton. I want Sam to be the other untouchable guy. I'm not quite there with him. He was untouchable last year. This year, maybe a little bit different story, but I really like Sam a lot. Mr. Tuda, how do you call in? I will put the phone number on the screen momentarily. I'll have that up there, so you guys will be able to call in, and we'll get all your thoughts. You guys are saying Jim Harbaugh. I like the Harbaugh family. The Harbaugh I want is the one that's in Baltimore, unfortunately. NY Jets FL, trade the first pick in the draft. We need multiple pieces. I agree. If I got the first pick in the draft, I would rather trade that pick away and get as much as I could in return because the Jets need a ton of help. Joe S., thank you for the super chat. He says maybe Sam is just another Carson Palmer. I like Carson Palmer. I don't have an issue with Carson Palmer. Carson Palmer in Arizona played out of his mind. Really good. And then he got sent from the Bengals, got sent to the black hole, which was Oakland. And that's just where players were sent to die at that point. If Sam's career talent level could be Carson Palmer, I think that's a franchise quarterback. I think you hold on to that. Now, if you're saying, okay, it could be Carson Palmer is who you have, and then you could be drafting, say, I don't know, insert stud quarterback that you would replace Carson Palmer with. There's a thought process there. I don't know. Morton B., thank you for the super chat again. He says, what do you think about Rich Eisen's point about us passing on Lawrence if we have the chance to draft? Might be regretting every week for years. That is certainly a concern. And it's something that I said when Mahomes and Watson were coming out. If you believe that either one of those guys is a franchise quarterback, you take them, even if you think Hackenberg has something. If we knew what we knew now, I wouldn't even say knew now. I'd like to get in the head of McCagnon and just wonder if Hack was if they passed on quarterbacks because they didn't want to risk looking bad because of the Hackenberg pick, that would burn me up inside because, man, Watson and Mahomes were really good. They weren't, hindsight being 2020, those guys go 1-2 in the draft. No questions asked. Now, Lawrence, if you feel the same way about Lawrence, if you think he is the franchise quarterback, you have to take him, I guess. I don't know. I want to see enough out of Sam where we don't get the first pick. I think we have a good chance of getting it because we're so bad, but I would like to see us. I think we're going to probably finish in the top 5, I would think. And at that point, I would not trade up for Trevor Lawrence. I would not. I don't think I would take any other quarterback. I would still roll with Sam. I would much rather trade away an entire draft class in 2 years' time or whatever, after the Jets kind of recoup everything in terms of like draft picks and players that they need on the roster. I'd rather recoup all that, build the team up, and then trade for the quarterback. The same way kind of the Eagles did. The Eagles made a lot of moves to go up and get Wentz. So that would be sort of the approach I would like to take, and I think that's sort of how Douglas would go about it as well. Who knows? Who knows? All right, let's pull up the phones. I want to get your thoughts on everything Jets related. Just let me have it. What did you guys see during the game? Phone number's on the screen if you'd like to call in. You get 5 minutes. 5 minutes of my time. And then I eject you from the cockpit. If you guys want a chance to win a Just End the Suffering shirt, make sure you answer this question in my Instagram, which is located down in the description down below. What was the first player that tore their ACL yesterday in our game? What was that player's last name?
Call from Chris from Florida. To accept, press 1.
Oh, Chris, brother. What's up, dude?
What's going on, guys? What's going on, Jet fans? All right. Another rant. Here we go. How do I do this right? Sammy looked good, man. He's such a good guy. He's trying his best to not diss his coach and his teammates. I mean, I don't know about everyone else. I understand where you're coming from about saying if you don't see some progression, you think about after getting maybe the first round draft pick, maybe Trevor Lawrence. I can't agree, dude, because I still blame the coach. I still blame it. We all see that he is such a good listener. The kid is such an obeyer. He's a yes sir kind of guy. And if you heard the interview, when they asked him, Sam, why didn't you go for a QB sneak? He said it himself. He's like, that's the coach's call, which means he is literally obeying every word and clinching on every move that his coach is teaching him. And, guys, he's 23 years old. This kid is just now at the age where most quarterbacks be drafted at. So you can definitely still put a good-minded coach that can actually lead a team and progress with this kid, because I'm telling you, you're going to regret it if you let him go. I understand Trevor Lawrence, all this and all that talk. I honestly see Trevor Lawrence as the next, what's his name from the Gators? We once had that quarterback too. God, I can't remember that guy's name. Tim Tebow. I don't. That's who Trevor Lawrence is to me. Another Tim Tebow. Sam Darnold is going to be amazing. Just put the right shoe behind him. I don't want to wait till the season. I don't want to wait till the end of the season to fire this garbage of a guru BS. Oh my God! I don't want to ruin a great quarterback that we could have kept.
This is kind of where I stand too. I really believe in Sam. I think he's going to be a good quarterback, and I think Gase is ruining him. That press conference was no joke, and 2613 Mike actually just said, listening to Sam in his press conference, I think he really is starting to feel deflated. I think they're going to eventually talk to him, and they're just going to say flat out, like, I think that was almost a subtle, I don't want to say subtle shot, but saying something along the lines of, I didn't do the quarterback sneak because I don't have the ability to call an audible at the line of scrimmage. When you see no one in front of the guard in the center, you should just fall forward. You have to fall forward. Sam needs to have that ability to make that call. That should not be. You should not clip his wings because of that. And what else was I watching? I was watching something about Adam Gase and the 4th and 7 play call. Chris, I apologize. I did not hang up on you, so I don't know why that happened. But anyway, the 4th and 7 play call, the Jets had it was 0.2% difference between making that and not making it. And by kicking the field goal, we made ourselves less likely to win because of it. Now, even if it's the smallest little increment of possible success, you have to go for it. You can't, you're down by 3 scores at that point? It was still 3 scores after they kicked the field goal.
Call from.
Bernard from North Carolina.
To accept, press 1.
Bernard, what's good, brother? How you doing?
Hey, long time no speak. How you doing there, buddy?
I'm trying to hang in there. I'm trying to stay positive, and it's really friggin' hard.
I've been playing out several, different scenarios in my head and possibilities, but I'm hoping the best case of it is that we don't have Holton too much longer to deal with Gase. Hopefully the ownership is not that stupid and not that inept that they can't clearly see what everybody sees, Jet fans and non-Jet fans alike, that Gase is a disaster. And if they don't do the right thing and start treating the Jets with respect, treating their fans with respect, and treating this thing like a business, do you think George Steinbrenner, see, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. I was born in 1967. 1980, 12 years old, I became a Jets and a Yankees fan, believe it or not. And I love the Jets just as much as I do the Yankees. And they couldn't be two starkly different organizations. George Steinbrenner would never put up with the foolishness from Gase that Woody Johnson put up with. He would have fired him last year. After that Patriot debacle, the ghost game with Sam Darnold, he would have fired him then. And I don't understand what the Johnsons are doing. They need to step up, act like businessmen, treat this thing like a business, and go on and move on from Gase. Let Joe Douglas pick his own coach, because that's the way the process is done. He got more knowledge and understanding of that, than the Johnsons do,
Yeah, I agree. Look, if we're moving on from Gase, I want Douglas to be the man to make that decision. We already know Chris Johnson felt uncomfortable hiring a head coach without firing McCagnon. Now he's sort of backtracking. He's like, in hindsight, we probably should have let McCagnon go earlier, and done this or done that. But that admission of guilt or that admission of incompetence, should not be overlooked. Like, Douglas, to me, at least seems like he has the right idea. Like, we haven't seen many of his players play yet that he's drafted, but it at least seems like those things made sense. The picks made sense. Like, how many times have we sat here and been like, oh man, we should draft this player, and then it's like someone totally out of left field, and it's like, who the hell is that guy? So
I'd like to throw something out there if I may. How much time?
Yeah, go for it.
I mean,
on
the screen,
you got over
44. I probably got less.
Yep. Yeah, no, you're actually, wow, we're pretty close. 235 now.
Okay. I'm going to throw some things out there. I think we should take a look, if we have to, at a college coach. It has been done. It's risky. I know the Cowboys did it. They struck lightning with Jimmy Johnson. We should explore every one of our options. And as far as the draft, if we finish with the worst record, I mean, how could you pass on Trevor Lawrence? Now, but there's a dark horse no one is talking about. Is Justin Fields. I looked at his YouTube video. It is amazing.
He
is
looks
an
good.
amazing prospect.
So I started looking him up.
The way the league is going,
For sure. He seems closer. I mean, they're both running kind of quarterbacks. Fields seems more in the Kyler Murray vein when I watch him than maybe Trevor Lawrence does. Trevor Lawrence feels more like I don't want to say a Josh Allen, but more like a bounding style runner as opposed to like a quick, fast runner. Watching Fields, the one thing I was concerned about I didn't watch a crazy ton of his tape, but he was throwing to wide open guys, just no one around. And that.
I think it's possible if we finish with the worst record. Let's say he decides he don't want to play for us. What would you do with that pick? Would you move down and get as much as you could and just try to take Jamar Chase? Jamar Chase, the wide receiver, that's another cat I've been having my eyes on, for the 2021 draft. Am I wrong?
Sure. No, you're not wrong. I think that's going to be a player that's going to be heavily in the conversation when you talk about getting Sam Darnold a weapon. I think a lot of it will probably hinge on what happens in free agency. If we feel like we've signed Juju for $18 million a year or whatever, and he's going to be our number one, and we have Mims, who we believe is our number two, and we have Crowder, who's going to be here another year.
I think he's capable of being maybe more than that. He's got a freakish upside. Brett Coleman did a nice piece of video on. I recommend if you haven't checked out his work, you got to check out his work.
I've seen it.
It's amazing.
He's
very
really
impressive.
good.
And I think we got to go on and get some wide receivers. I like to see us do it through the draft, and I think that's the best bet in free agency. I don't think we're going to go for the top-tier guys. You know what we do. We're going to go for the second-tier guys and settle on that. Thank you for taking my call.
Of course, Bernard. And I'll say this: I definitely want to address the wide receiver position, and it has to be addressed in such a way that you think you're getting a number one receiver. And Juju, for me, since he played with Sam, he has shown that he looks like he is a number one wide receiver. He's someone I would bring in, but we're going to have to build this team through the draft. Every free agent that we're going to try and bring in is just going to rake us over the coals for money. And there is just no way that I see the Jets coming out ahead when they have to pay as much as they're going to have to pay. We've seen it happen with Tremaine Johnson, C.J. Mosley. I don't want to spend a crazy ton on free agency. I really do not. I don't think that's the way to do it. I think you have to draft well. And the Jets just haven't done that. This year I felt like we drafted well, but none of these guys are seeing the field.
Call from
Jonathan Caceres.
Jonathan, what's good, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing well, man. Thank you for asking. First time caller. I love your show, man.
Thank you. I appreciate it. I love having the first time caller on. Where are you calling from?
I'm calling from Poughkeepsie, New York.
Oh, there you go. Okay, I grew up in Warwick, so probably like 45 minutes from you, which really I guess doesn't have anything. Poughkeepsie has the Chance Theater up there, right?
Has what?
The Chance Theater up there? Or it used to.
Yes, it does. No, it does. Yes, it does.
Saw a few shows there. Pretty good. All right, sorry.
Yeah.
I wasted your time. What's on your mind, brother?
Nah, just I'm with you on Sam. I love Joe Douglas, but the only thing I believe that Joe Douglas did wrong this year was just the depth on his team. I mean, even some of the moves on the practice squad. I mean, why aren't we bringing up guys like Lawrence Cager, that's a big body receiver that could take the place of Mims instead of going with three receivers that are 5'10"? You know what I mean? It's just a lot of those moves are kind of questionable to me. But other than that, you know, I see them going in the right direction.
Yeah, I think the way that he drafted and the way he sort of structured his contracts are the correct way to do it. I think where I start to nitpick is I really wanted a second wide receiver in the draft. It felt like that was going to be an area of weakness for us. And when you're depending on Perriman, who's had an injury history, Mims, who's a rookie, and then Crowder, who's your slot, it felt weak to begin with. So I felt like kind of losing that was a little frustrating to me. I believe in Joe Douglas.
I do too, but this week I believe we should have brought up instead of. I mean, Ogletree we had to, but if you knew Williamson was going to be there, I mean, I'd rather see Cager over any one of those other two receivers. I mean, Hogan and Barrios. We needed a big body guy that could, you know what I mean, go up and get it. That's why I wanted us to get Claypool as well in the draft, but hey, it didn't happen.
Yeah, for sure. Claypool for Pittsburgh looks real good. He looks like he's going to be legit. I was a big fan of him coming out. He was a second-round receiver that I was looking at, and I believe he went just before our original pick in the second round, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep, he did. He did.
Yeah, so this was a wide receiver-rich draft. If you think in the third round or the fourth round you want to draft a wide receiver, that player in any other draft is probably going in the second or third round, so you're getting a quality receiver. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, well. Yeah, no, I think we missed there, but thank you for your time, man, and I love your show, man. Keep it going.
Of course, thank you so much. I got to get your opinion. What do we fire Gase, and if so, when does it happen?
Yes, and tomorrow.
Ooh, man. Spitting darts. I like it, brother. Thank you so much for your call. You guys are talking in the chat a little bit. Charlie says K104 is up in Poughkeepsie. Yes, it is. Fun fact, my video production teacher was DJ Skywalker from K104 when I was going to college in Orange County. If you guys don't know who Skywalker is, it's okay. It's a local radio station. Hey, what's good, brother? How you doing?
I'm doing good. How about you, man?
I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to stay positive after a piss-poor performance that I had to watch yesterday.
I want to answer the question you asked your last caller at the end. I want to fire Adam Gase right now.
Okay.
Make Williams, the head coach, and which is the running back coach, Cooter, the offensive play caller, and get Gase's puppet Loggins out of here too. That dude's useless. Dude,
100% is exactly what I would do.
All this continuity crap, I'm tired of it. Sam's gonna get worse under him. I don't care how long you keep him, for how short you keep him. And he played well. And the most annoying thing is that I was in a group chat talking to some guys in my fantasy league. They won't shut up about all this Trevor Lawrence crap about, oh, well, you have to take him. He's the best player since Andrew Luck. And I'm trying to tell them, yeah, Sam might have not been the prospect they were, but he was, or he is currently, or same thing Luck was. He's still a top prospect. Most analysts thought he was probably the best prospect in that quarterback prospect in that draft. And it's just frustrating that we're just going to Trevor Lawrence, yeah, it might be a bit of an upgrade, but you're not going to, like, putting him in a crap situation. It's still a crap situation.
Not to mention, he doesn't have to come out. Like, he's going to be the first pick either way if he sits out a year. He could pull a Peyton Manning and just say, hey, I'm not playing for the Jets. And all of a sudden we're stuck with our thumb up our butt and we're like, oh, no, we're screwed.
I've never thought about that. But I want to get back to it because I called him last week. We talked a bit about the Trevor Lawrence stuff. I kind of want to get back to the game. So, Adam Gase clearly plays to lose. He's playing for field goals. It's so annoying, man. Like, the first issue, besides that first play touchdown from the 49ers, my first big issue is when he ran, when Josh Adams on 4th and 1 was just like, we know you love Frank Gore. Why not use him? Like,
that was exactly what I was going to say next. I cannot stand that was the call on 4th and 1. You have a bruiser of a back in Frank Gore who is falling forward for a yard every play, and you run it. It makes no sense to me. It makes absolutely no sense. There's no rhyme or reason to anything that I'm watching.
Even if Bell were healthy, I'd still run Gore on 4th and 1 or just run a QB sneak. Like anything but a guy you just brought up off the practice squad who's like, for a practice squad running back, yeah, he might be okay. He scored a touchdown, I think, in week 1. But it's his first carry of the game. You kind of got to think, hey, he might not get this. And then the thing that really pissed me off, it was like 3rd and 18, and then just ran Gore up the middle. He's clearly like probably scared Sam's going to throw an interception. But even if, like, just try to score a touchdown. And then his press conference was just, he was like, oh, we were moving the ball down the field. We just didn't execute, didn't score touchdowns. It's 3rd and 18. You don't run the ball up the middle. You don't run the ball, period. But if you're going to run the ball, especially not up the middle. Yeah,
it's one of those things where you admit defeat. At 3rd and 18, there's not really many plays drawn up to go 18 yards. But there's also not many plays that are drawn up to go 31 yards or 55 yards. So, like, the Jets just get burnt.
I was going to say that next. I was like, well, they're able to run the ball and get 30 yards or 50 yards, how much it was.
My biggest issue with the defense yesterday was hands down Ogletree. I thought he single-handedly crippled this team. Like hard to do. Like, our defense did not show a crazy ton, but the big issues were coming from Ogletree being at linebacker.
And that was supposed to be like our strongest position. I remember seeing a YouTube video of like most overrated player on every team. And when he was on the Giants, the guy read his stat line out, and he said because he gets a lot of tackles and interceptions, people think he's good. I heard his like coverage stats and like how many yards he gives up. It was shockingly terrible. And it sucks because that was supposed to be like our good position. And then it just gone no one. I'd cut Ogletree now and bring back Burgess because I think he's still on the market. I mean, he played fine last year.
Yeah, you know what? I think there should be some sort of rule that we should allow us to pull Mosley back in or get out of his contract. The fact that this guy opted out and then is seen at a bar in Alabama.
Oh my God.
That boils my blood. That guy should not be allowed to opt out of the NFL if he's going to do that. Like, it makes no sense to me. It should void his contract. Unfortunately, we're stuck with him for another, 3 years. And I don't think he wants to be here. I think he used us as his retirement plan.
Yeah. And, before you let me go, the MLB does something where you can opt back in and stuff. And I wish they could do something like that, like force guys to come back in.
I would love it. Would absolutely love it. Thank you so much for the call. That was a solid round of questions right there. Guys, if you want your chance to win a Just End the Suffering t-shirt, head down to my Instagram down in the description down below. and answer this question. What was the first player to tear an ACL yesterday during our game? Answer that there, and I will raffle that off at the end of the show.
Sean.
As well as also raffling off a 4-pack of Kalo that I've had sent over to me. So I will send that out to you guys as well if you answer the question of the day correctly down in the description. Brother, how you doing tonight?
How you doing, man? My name is Sean. I'm calling from Albany.
Oh, nice. Very cool. Albany up that way. I had a few friends that went to school in Albany. Albany's a fun little city up there.
Yeah, right. We away from everybody.
Oh yeah, it's kind of nice. What's on your mind?
Yeah. So my question is kind of bizarre, right?
Mm-hmm.
What if we give up a second-round pick to get back Odell? Because Odell plays his best in New York. Hopefully he drops his antics. You know what I mean? But
Mm-hmm.
it will make Sam Darnold a better quarterback because you just need one receiver that he could trust. And we don't have that right now.
Yeah, look, I like Odell a lot, and I would have no problem with him coming here. I don't think he's an option for us right now because of his comments towards Greg Williams. He accused Greg Williams of intentionally trying to injure him when Greg Williams was the head coach of the Browns and Odell was on the Giants still. So I think there's probably not a connection there as much as I'd kind of like to see it.
Make it up, like, you know,
I think anything's possible. Yeah, I think anything's possible, and I think they could definitely make it up, but I don't think it's something we're going to actively look for. If you could move a second-round pick, now I would consider... I think the second-round pick is the pick that you can play with. It's going to be a high pick. Like, it could be a top 5 pick in that second round. Like, that's what's so scary about it. A third and below, anything like that, or a conditional pick, I'm cool with a conditional pick. It's just, it's going to be hard to give away assets right now unless you think this player can immediately help us grade Sam.
Right. But you do need someone to take the pressure off him because right now he doesn't have a number one. And I feel like that's what he needs. If you watch last year, he has someone that he trusts. And every time he's in trouble, he goes to that person, you know. But my second one is we should just take someone from the Patriots, like that offensive. What's his Josh? I know I don't really like Patriots at all, but if we have that guy, you know, I think
I like Thuney.
Really
Thuney's the guard for the Patriots. It's going to be a free agent next year, and the Jets are going to have a ton of cap space. This is what's cool about this offseason coming up is the Jets have so much cap space, and every other team is probably going to have to cut some players or restructure players. So there's going to be a flood of better talent in free agency that we haven't really seen in a while. Thuney at guard, someone who could replace Greg Van Roten like immediately, be a super healthy player, be super productive, no penalties. That's who I would really like. I think that's who our first target would have been this offseason had he actually hit free agency.
Okay, all right. That was my thoughts. Thank you for taking my call, man. You know.
Awesome, of course.
Hopefully we're a little bit better.
Yeah, fingers crossed, my friend. Thank you so much for calling in.
All right, thank you.
Good stuff. I like these first-time callers. It's fun. What are you guys talking about in the chat there? We need Juju. Oh, he's talking about Josh McDaniels. He's saying the offensive coordinator. I thought he said the center. Yeah, Josh McDaniels. The one thing that scares me with Josh McDaniels is he bailed on the Colts. And what's to stop him from pulling a Patriots, Bill Belichick, and dip out,
To accept,
and
press 1.
resign on a
To
napkin
voicemail,
one day
press
later?
2.
Welcome to the cockpit.
Yeah, what's up, Ryan?
How you doing tonight?
It's going good, man. I'm calling you from Los Angeles, man. I tried calling a couple of times, but no luck. Just got through.
Oh, dude, I'm glad you're here. How are you doing as far as the air quality and everything out there right now?
Oh, man, it's a lot of fires, man, but just trying to get through it.
Well, I hope you're safe out there, and I hope everything is going as good as it can. What's on your mind in terms of Jet stuff?
Oh, man, this is what I say. For the people that are saying that they should take Trevor Lawrence, is you just got to keep in mind, would where are we going to be if we do that? Trevor Lawrence is still not going to have receivers. It's still not going to have a good O-line. We're still going to be in the same situation that Sam is under, So the best thing is, like they say, is if we get our number one pick or if we get the pick, we trade them away to build around Sam. And if that doesn't work, then we move up. Like you said, we give up those picks to go get the franchise quarterback that will be cheap on a rookie deal to compete. That's how Douglas believes in. If you see what he does, is like, it's just funny because everybody was complaining when Joe Douglas took Mekhi Beckham, the left tackle. The first two games, he's been great. If people that were complaining saying, "Oh, you should have took a wide receiver," we still would have been in the same situation. We wouldn't have had a left tackle to protect Sam Darnold to throw to our number one receiver. So I just think that Douglas is looking down the road. He's looking at how to build this thing the right way. And as far as Adam Gase, I hate to say this, but I just don't think that he's going to be fired into the end of the season. Or at
you think we wait the whole time?
Yeah, and past week 10 or 11. Now, the reason because of that is because how Douglas said it. He wants to build a culture. He wants to build something that is going to attract people to come. So if you're getting rid of coaches, what coach on the right mind is going to say, okay, let me go try it, and if it doesn't work, I'm going to be in a hot seat right away and get rid of it. So I'm just thinking that Douglas already knows what he's going to do, and he's just waiting for the time to come, and he's going to move on it.
Yeah, I think that's, fingers crossed that's what we do. That's what it is. Like,
Exactly. I mean, I'm a strong believer in Sam Darnold, and if you look at his film and you break down everything, the things that he could do, it's just unbelievable. Now, it's like I tell other people, just imagine what he could do with weapons, with a competent coaching staff that is going to be there and guide him.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's a huge thing. Being able to figure out what Sam is outside of Adam Gase. And that's why I'm such a big proponent on firing Gase mid-season, whether that's just before the bye week. Like, I'm okay with giving him a little bit of time, kind of figuring it out, but the questionable play calls, the weird decisions, like not going for it on 4th and 7, running a running back that's not named Frank Gore on 4th and 1. There's just some weird, odd things that just sort of keep popping up with this guy over the course of last year. And I don't even think I need to see until the bye week. I just think that might be what they wait for. Like, hey, we're going to give you this much time, and then they pull the plug and let Jim Bob Cooter run the offense and Greg Williams become the interim head coach.
Yeah, I'm with you, man, and I agree. But let me ask you, even, the coaching, what is that analyst reporter, Todd? I believe he was the roommate of Joe Douglas.
Todd McShay. Sure.
Yeah, he even came out and said, look, I believe that Sam Darnold could be a top 5 quarterback if you build around him well. I believe that if the Jets get the number 1 pick, they should trade it away for access, and they will be rich. And he's one of those people that Douglas kind of leans on because of the scouting report. And if he's telling him, look, you have something in Sam, you just have to build around him, I believe Joe is looking at it like he's right. Let me go get him a wide receiver. Let me go do this. And that's the reason why he's not spending right now. I love Allen Robinson and Odell. I believe maybe if they do think about trading for Odell, they'll sit down with him and say, hey, apologize to Greg. I mean, there's more players that have said worse things about Greg, and Greg will still work with him. Let's be honest. This is the NFL, But I just believe if Joe's going to make a move.
You're out of here! You've been ejected from the cockpit. That was a good run of questions right there. It was a good thought process. I think you brought up a good point with Todd McShay. Todd McShay says, I believe you can win with Sam Darnold. I like Todd McShay a lot. I was hoping he could get into our front office and really help us with the draft process and all that. If he still believes in Sam and he sees everything that I feel like I see, like it's right there, like I could see it. It's just, I understand where people are concerned. Now, let me pull up the Pro Football Focus rankings. Whether you guys like this or not, you guys, sort of let me know. In terms of Sam Darnold. So this is the biggest improvement we kind of saw week 1 to week 2. Last week, week 1, he was a 37.2. That was the worst grade across the board on our offense. And it might have been the worst grade across the board overall for us. Yesterday, 86.2, so a complete turnaround. So as of right now, Sam Darnold is at a 61.1. Now, again, Pro Football Focus doesn't tell the full story, but it's interesting just to kind of see where our strengths lie in terms of on a play-by-play basis. For those of you that don't know about Pro Football Focus, basically what they do is they look at every single snap of an individual player and they give it a +1 or a -1, depending on down and distance, circumstance, everything like that. So a higher grade, if you're 70 or above, you're above average. If you're, I think it's like 50 to 60, you're average, and if you're below that, then clearly below average. May was our highest one on our defense. That was a 74.1. Jenkins is a 70.5. Quinnen Williams is a 68.5. Now, as far as Quinnen goes, his week 1 to week 2 stat line, he went from a 56.6 last week to a 77.7 now. So he's definitely improved in that category. His run defense played better. His pass rushing was better. He got those 2 sacks. I like what we got out of Quinnen Williams. My pleasant surprise in terms of players so far. Really happy with Mekhi Becton, currently rated at 79.7. And Alex Lewis, who's currently rated at 85.7. Phenomenal. He's actually rated as the 5th highest guard out of 72 eligible guards by Pro Football Focus. Becton is ranked 11th out of 71 tackles. That's left tackles and right tackles. Now, the right side of our line, not looking so good. The right side of our line, McGovern in particular at center, currently ranked the 31st ranked center in the NFL. I know we've versed some hard interior defensive lines. This is not what we signed up for. This is not a top 10 center playing right now. McGovern should be playing better than this. I'm hoping it's just some growing pains. I'm hoping there's an issue maybe with Van Roten. Maybe he's trying to help out a little more on the right-hand side, and he's getting burnt because of it. I don't know if that's the case or not. I don't watch that closely to the offensive line. I'll have to talk to our buddy Joe Blewett, get his thoughts on the circumstance. Fant, not a terrible grade. He's at a 61. I thought he's played okay. Currently 58th out of 71 guards. So towards the bottom end in terms of right tackles in the league. And then the rest of our team, not so good. Our worst performers yesterday, easily Alex Ogletree. Alex Ogletree, 26.6 is what Pro Football Focus gave him. He's the reason we gave up that 3rd and 31. He's the reason we gave up an 80-yard touchdown on the first play of the game. Go back and watch the tape. I might actually put together a little bit of film session just to kind of highlight those plays, because that's what had me burnt up the most. If those 2 plays don't go the distance or go for the damage that it caused, that was a 3rd and 31. They were punting. They were giving it away. They were just like, hey, we're just going to run up the middle, get as many yards as we can, we're going to punt it. And we blew it. Absolutely blew it. This game looks a lot closer if that's not the case. Not a whole lot, but it might be 10 points. Now imagine if the Jets had 20, San Francisco has 21. It's not unreasonable to think that the Jets could have scored a touchdown if you take away those 2 plays. Field position, or at least some points. It's tough. 2613 Mike. If I'm going to keep watching this team, I'm going to need the link to buy Kalo before too long. I'm going to need to start smoking the real stuff. Oh, geez. Guys, if you have not, what he's talking about. So Kalo, There's a link in my description down below to their website. Not sure if you could buy it on there or not, but it is really good. It's a hemp infused seltzer, and it's got 20 milligrams of CBD in it. I actually, they are sponsoring me. They're sending me a few cans. I'm giving out a few cases to you guys, or a few boxes of it over the course of the next few weeks. But it's not something that I actually. They didn't reach out to me about it. I came across them and I was like, wow, this is really good. And I don't do this. I'm not getting paid for it. It's literally just like, hey, send me some cans. I'm gonna drink it. And like I'll help you. They're actually a local company. They are Lincoln Park, New Jersey. So they're really like 10, 15 minutes away from me. But a lot of fun. All right, I see you guys are talking about call-ins. Let's do the call-ins again. I want to talk a little bit about the Pro Football Focus grades and just sort of touch base on some of that stuff, see what you guys thought. Before I get into the calls, I do have to announce our sponsorship with mybookie.ag in the lower right-hand corner, down that way, down there. Jets Talk is proud to announce our new sponsor for the NFL season, mybookie.ag. This NFL season, anyone who signs up at mybookie.ag uses promo code JT receives a 100% bonus match up to $1,000. Just use promo code JT. Bet with me, win some money. MyBookieAG, promo code JT. Double your money today. MyBookieAG, promo code JT. So if you guys want to put some money on the games, because we are not too bad, this is a good spot to do it. They're helping out the channel. And if you use JT as your promo code, you get double your bonus or whatever. All right.
Call from
Frank from Florida.
Frank from Florida, what's up, brother?
Hey, been better. How about you, man?
Oh, man, I'm trying to hang in there. It's been rough.
Oh, God. Tell me about it.
What's on your mind?
My whole issue is, all the Jet fans right now, they're just bashing Gase left to right. Yeah, he is 100% responsible for what's going on. He's part of the problem. Obviously, we all know the owners are the biggest issues, but I don't think Douglas gets a pass for the job that he's done. I understand he's kind of in rebuilding mode, but if you look going back to last year, going into week one with Kyer Bedvick as your kicker, that wasn't really wise. Then even the trainer position, they didn't even resolve that. All our guys are getting injured left to right. Going into this year as well, look at Mims, 20-year-old kid, he's hurt. You got LaMichael Perron, he's hurt as well. It's just unacceptable. And the biggest issue that I see with Joe Douglas, Robbie Anderson was with Darnold since the very beginning. They had a very, very good rapport. And for you to save $2 million, you go with Rashad Perryman, which has been a journeyman wide receiver. I mean, I just think that is unacceptable to the fullest extent. Not only that, he's responsible 100% for pissing Jamal Adams off, because remember, in the trade deadline last year, he was the guy that was saying that he's listening to offers, and that really got Jamal heated. And Jamal's an immature little kid, obviously, but you don't trade a superstar safety on a rookie deal. Even though we got a lot of compensation back, great teams don't do that. Great teams do not trade their best players. And I just don't think Joe Douglas should get a pass for that.
I don't think you can give Douglas a full pass. Now, with the Jamal Adams thing, from what I heard, there were reports that Adams was reaching out to Cowboys players to try and get them to convince Jerry Jones to trade for him. That was part of what happened at the deadline. And I think Jamal threw that hissy fit because he was upset that he was not traded to Dallas, and he wanted to throw shade on the Jets, like, oh, I can't believe you would talk about getting rid of me, and that, that whole spiel. I do think that having Vedvik as your kicker week one, I don't know who you bring in at that point. Like, I don't hate it. I hate what happened because of it. The guy, I don't think he ever wound up making a kick in the NFL, actually in a game. In terms of wide receivers and the health staff and whatnot, I don't know what he has to do with the health staff, if he's only player personnel or if he actually hires other people outside of that, because the training staff needs to be looked at. There is some issue there. Now, there is something to be said for this particular season. There's a lot of soft tissue injuries. I have never seen the amount of injuries that we saw yesterday alone. You lost I think it was Samini that tweeted out that the Jets were under investigation for their turf yesterday, and they've actually passed a bunch of times. They've gone through. They're like, hey, this is up to code. This is exactly what we need. They were saying it was like tacky. They lost, what was it, 3 guys to knee injuries. It was Mostert, actually 4. Coleman,
unbelievable.
Mostert, friggin' Solomon Thomas, and Bosa.
Solomon Thomas is out for the year as well.
Yeah, you lose those 2 for ACL tears, and the other 2 I think are just sprains. But man, that 49ers team is beat up bad, and we didn't even look like we were in the same league.
I just see a lot of similarities with Douglas, with what we got from Isnick, like playing the money ball approach, trying to be smarter than what's really common sense. I mean, Robbie Anderson, I know he wasn't great, but the guy was a playmaker, and he was perfect for Sam. That's what Sam is missing. Sam is scared to throw, 10 yards. It's unbelievable.
So I have 2 points for that, and I'm not sure if either one are right or not. I never felt like Sam and Robbie were on a good chemistry plane. Like, it always felt like they were kind of off to me. The other part of it is I don't know if Gase is intentionally trying to keep Darnold close to the line of scrimmage, because it doesn't seem like he's letting him loose and letting him throw downfield, unless that's a conscious decision by Sam, like just not looking that way. Last year, I think a lot of the issue was on the offensive line. I think if Robbie's here now, it's a different story. That said, it wasn't just $2 million more. He's getting, I think it's $12 million for this year, and then Perriman at worst is getting $6 million. So it's kind of more like half the price. And to pinch pennies over, like, if you felt that Robbie Anderson should have been the wide receiver, they should have brought him back. I think it's his personality that sent him out more so than it was the money or anything like that. I think he wanted to get a certain type of personality in here. I think that type of personality. Now, I always liked Robbie. I understand the hesitation with some of the personality traits that he's sort of just displayed. That being said, you do have to have good players, and sometimes you have to put up with bad behavior.
To accept, press 1. To send a voice...
Nope, not accepting that phone call. Sorry.
Call from Chris from Florida.
Hey, Chris, what's up, brother?
Hey, what's going on, my man? All right, real quick. First, to the last guy on the call, listen, man, I understand your argument about Joe Douglas. And Joe, I still trust, though. Gonna have to live with it, because his only 2 mistakes was not re-signing Robbie Anderson, agreed, and not getting another receiver. But he's making a good point, setting the goal up for Sam Darnold, or if he doesn't work with the team he built around him, a future quarterback. The guy from before then as well, talking about he doesn't think it's a good idea to fire Gase. Trust me, dude, lots of teams have fired coaches midway season, and other coaches have went to those teams because they say, hey, at least they're thinking, they realize they made a mistake and they have a problem. So it would show smarter organizations. Keeping a coach like Gase is probably not as good, because you're showing that the ownership still doesn't know diddly squat. And then finally, can someone tell me, because I just heard it from your show, what the heck is this about C.J. Mosley at a bar?
Yeah, oh my God, wait, did you not see this?
I did not, and I'm so pissed.
Oh,
Tell
man.
me what bar
Dude,
this
I
is.
am
I'm gonna
furious.
give him
Hold
coffee.
on, I gotta pull it up. I'm gonna put it on screen
What?
if I can.
The actual, please.
So here's the caveat. I don't know if it was confirmed. Where is it? Where's the picture? There was a picture that came out of C.J. Mosley sitting at a bar in Alabama, and there's no timestamp on it, I think, where they could really hold on, sitting at bar. Oh, tell me it's not even gonna be on Google. You gotta be kidding me.
Dude, I'll do some detective work right now, and I'll compare
Dude,
faces.
look it up. C.J. Mosley sitting at a bar. It was bad.
serious.
I was like, you've got to be kidding me. This dude opts out for the season due to health concerns. Fine. Have no problem with that. But then winds up going and friggin' going out to a bar? Like, no way, dude. We should be able to void that contract. I want nothing to do with him.
it's either one of two things, man. Either this dude is really screwing my team over after having a one good game against Buffalo, or he's seriously trying to make a point about Adam Gase. But regardless of this dude really that just pissed me the heck off. After kidding me, Mosley's over at a bar. I'm gonna take that drink and I'm gonna shove COVID down his throat so he has a reason to get off this court. You're screwing with my crap, dude. You're screwing with my cap space too. You better not get another extension. Joe Douglas better cut him right now. Okay, I'm good now.
Dude, now I gotta find this picture, and it's the fact that I can't find it on Google right away is bothering me.
I wish you would have posted it on your Instagram. I need to see this.
I should have posted it. I didn't really think much of it. I was like, man, this sucks. And now I can't even find it.
Dude, watching this whole thing and listening to everyone, again, I'm still sticking to what I said, and I agree with you 100%. The only thing is, like I said, with everyone being the prospect and saying, you feel like he hasn't done it, I'd still say put a good coach on Sam Darnold, and you can still build around him. And if you don't like after building around him, then you do exactly what you said. Take all your draft picks and then get your franchise quarterback, because at least you won't do a repeat with Trevor Lawrence. Still a tip on my head, but whatever. But my point is, man, I can't believe this is happening. This is ridiculous. I don't even want to watch the Seahawks game. I don't care how much we develop. After going through these first two games, I do not want to see him have a reason to disrespect my team. Oh, and that's another thing about the last guy. I'm not going to defend that kid who disrespects not only my coach, which he had a good reason to, but disrespect the franchise and Sam Darnold. What the heck? You don't defend that. And hearing TV shows like, you don't give up your best top pick. He was disrespecting your team. Are you going to let me walk into your house and disrespect you, the man of the house, and you're going to still say I deserve to be in your home? Come on.
Yeah, no, look, Jamal had to go. He was not going to re-sign with us. He wasn't going to play with us. He didn't want to be here. He wanted to be in Dallas. That's ultimately what it is. I think he'll eventually sign a deal with Dallas. I think he's probably in Seattle for 2 years, and then I think either they franchise tag him or they let him walk. I think they're just going all in on a Super Bowl right now.
Agreed.
I don't know. It's going to be weird. I believe in Joe Douglas.
I never rooted for the Patriots so much, though. When I saw that game, it was so close.
I don't know. I have such a hard time with that game because I hate what Jamal did. I really like the Seahawks though. I love Russell Wilson.
Yeah.
I really like Russell. I think him and Mahomes are 1-2 the best quarterback. 1A, 1B, however you want to word it.
I mean, I agree, but still, like I said, man, I hate what that guy did. He had so much of our love in our hearts, and he really controlled the wave of the fans. And look how easily he just turned on us. So to do that, I couldn't agree with the people saying, "Oh, you should have kept him," or the freaking newscast. You know who Boomer is?
You're out of here! Thank you, Chris, so much. I apologize for cutting you off, but you talked for too long. Yeah, no, look, Jamal had to go. It kills me because I was a huge, huge Jamal Adams fan. I got his jersey before last season. I was all about it. I was crushed when it felt like we might trade him. It made sense. I get it. A safety isn't necessarily going to win you games. I think if you add Jamal to this roster right now, it doesn't change the outcome of either game that we've played. So that's ultimately why it was made. I mean, him throwing hissy fits and then also us getting the kind of compensation we got, that played a factor in it too. But man, the Seahawks team looks good. That's the most frustrating thing for me. I really wish Jamal could have gotten to a bottom feeder, but man, we are the bottom of the most bottom fed feeder
Call
teams.
from
Jay from Atlanta.
Jay, what's up from Atlanta? How you doing?
Man, well, every Sunday, it's just so depressing.
It's like a factory of sadness. It's basically what the Browns were is what we are now.
I watch SNY and I forgot his name slipping my mind right now. He plays for us. He's on defense.
Ray Lucas? Oh no, not defense.
He's younger. Scott.
Oh yeah, Bart.
Bart Scott, yeah.
Love
he
me
was
some
saying,
Bart.
He was like, "How are we now the laughing stock of the NFL? How did the Jets become the laughing stock of the NFL?"
Blows my mind that this it happened so fast, and part of it is because our head coach in his first interview looked like he was high out of his mind with the eyes going around like crazy. Like, we just sort of set ourselves up for failure. not that he isn't a good I don't know if he's a good guy. I don't know if he's a bad guy. It just seems like I don't know. It just feels like we're always a joke, and I just hate it. I'm just so done with it. I just want to end the suffering. End the suffering. That's what I want. I just want to be happy.
I'm gonna get that shirt. Believe that. I'm gonna get the
shirt. Did you answer our question of the day? Did you go to my Instagram?
Oh, not yet. I'm gonna do that.
You got to do that. If you guys don't know the question of the day, all you have to do is click on my Instagram, send me a message. Who was the player that tore his ACL first in our game yesterday? Sorry. I had to do that.
But then I was watching Boomer in that show, and they were like, well, we should give Adam Gase a chance. It's only his 17th game. He's 7-10 as a head coach. And I was like, you know what? Maybe 7-10 is not bad, but it's not great. But then after watching that 4th-and-1 play, I lost all hope. I just lost all hope. And then
dude, it just makes no sense. The 4th-and-1 play, the 4th-and-7 play, there's just a lot of weird things that he does that just don't help us win. It's just like, what are you doing?
And then watching Sam Darnold's press conference, and then the reporter asked him, could you change the play, or do you have to go with what's called? And he said, I have to go with what's called. And I'm like, so you won't allow the quarterback to, if he can see he can get a yard? I don't know. Come on. Yeah, it's not a offensive guru or quarterback guru. I mean, he's horrible.
It makes no sense. I don't think Sam has gotten better. I think, if anything, he has regressed under Gase. It seems like we just don't know what we're doing. And it's fascinating to me just watching Adam Gase do all this different stuff. You would think there would be some kind of, we heard a brilliant offensive mind. Where is it? I haven't seen any of it.
Yeah, all 6-yard plays. All 6-yard passes. The whole game.
Dude, it was just brutal. What do you think? When do you think we get rid of him?
I think if us as fans keep the pressure up, keep calling for his head, maybe. The bye week does sound nice, but I don't trust the owner. So maybe the end of the season.
Yeah, that's my biggest fear.
He has such confidence.
What kills me is I think they're going to let their pride prevent them from making the right decision. They don't want to admit that they were wrong with Adam Gase. Yep. They don't want to admit that they just came out and said, "Oh yeah, he's an offensive guru. He's the brilliant mind. It's coaching where football's going." For me, I just want to see them make the right decision. And I think that move is canning Gase midseason, seeing what you have out of Sam Darnold with a different offensive coordinator. And if Sam is still bad, or at least doesn't show any kind of improvement under that new offensive coordinator, and you do have the first pick, then I think you have a legitimate reason to draft Trevor Lawrence. I believe in Sam. Even if we don't see a huge swing in momentum from Gase to, say, Jim Bob Cooter, I have a hard time pulling the trigger on Lawrence when our team is just so bad. We just need so many pieces. I don't think a quarterback throwing him into a terrible situation, I don't think that's going to help us.
Yep. Do you think about the wide receiver? What we could do at wide receiver? We are done. We have nobody.
Dude, we are so thin at wide receiver right now. Honestly, I don't think there's anyone that wants to come in and play for us, because if you're a contender, then you could get some guys out of retirement, like a Dez Bryant or someone like that, or even an Antonio Brown. I would be okay with bringing in Brown just to see what we have in Sam, but I don't think he wouldn't come to us. He wouldn't come to the Jets. Thank you so much for your call, dude. You've been ejected from the cockpit. Guys, we got a half hour. Make sure you answer our question of the day. Down in the description down below is a link to my Instagram. Answer this question. Who was the first player to tear their ACL in yesterday's game? Ooh, I have a call, and I'm definitely not on the right phone number. Let me see if I can get over to it fast enough, because my good buddy He's calling in. He's on the exclusive line. Grandpa Mark, I see you calling. Let me see. I could find this. All right. Let's see if we could give Grandpa Mark a call, because I saw him calling in, but I couldn't get over to the number in time.
Hello.
Hey, Grandpa Mark.
How you doing, buddy? Long time no speak.
Oh, seriously, how are you feeling about our Jets right now?
Well, all I know is that I consider you a young Jets fan.
Sure.
So
30 years young, almost 30.
Right. So I consider you and all of the Jet fans around your age or younger. Mm-hmm. I'm using the wrong word, not consider, but you guys are going through what I've been going through since 1976. And hopefully it won't be that much longer for you guys. But listen, this is why I'm calling.
Sure.
You just had a guy call a couple of callers ago, and he's bad-mouthing Douglas. I don't understand. Why are people getting on Douglas's case? I don't understand.
I don't know if it's so much a ragging on him as much as I think there is some blame. Sure. I think there's definitely not a lot of blame. I think I trust Douglas more than I trust anyone else in this organization. Like Greg Williams. It's like Williams and Douglas. Those are the two guys that I would trust to do something.
Yeah, well, you can't blame Douglas yet for anything. He was talking about last year how he signed that kicker Vedvik. Mm-hmm. And so, who else was he supposed to sign? That was an emergency signing.
Exactly my point.
And people tend to forget, and I know we've talked about this many times over a year ago. It was McCagnon that let a Pro Bowl kicker walk out the door with nothing.
Yep.
So, the Vedvik signing and whoever else he signed, those were all emergency signings. Same thing with Khalil.
Yeah,
but and to compare Douglas with Idzik, mm-hmm. You got at least let's give Douglas 2-3 years before we pass any type of judgment on this guy.
Yeah. I think GMs need those 3 years.
Yeah, of course they do. You can't make any judgments yet. You have to wait. It's patience with a general manager. But the whole Gase thing, he's not going anywhere, buddy. At least not till the end. At least not till the end of the year. The Johnsons aren't. They have no history of firing anybody during the season. He's not going anywhere. And
this would be the first time.
Yeah,
it would be the first time they've ever fired.
Look, I would be shocked. I would be absolutely shocked if the Johnsons fired Gase during the season. Shocked. And also, everybody's thinking about it as though Gase might never win another game. Mm-hmm. So then, everybody's thinking, okay, whatever. But what happens if the same thing that happened last year happens this year? That could very well happen. But also, I know you wrote back to me. I wrote you that text. But imagine if they get the number one pick, they take Lawrence, and somehow, some way, they decide to keep Gase and have Lawrence and Gase together.
You can't. You cannot, in any capacity, allow Gase to make that pick. Like if we are in position to get Trevor Lawrence, there's no way in hell Gase is hanging around. You got to be able to get rid of him, and then you bring in someone like a Greg Roman or I know Matt's high on PJ Fleck out of Minnesota, I think.
Yeah.
Look, I think there's a lot of things that we can get on Gase about, and I would really like to see him. My biggest thing with the Johnsons potentially firing him midseason, I said it before, I didn't think it was likely until we started seeing just how bad Sam has kind of been with Gase through these first two games. I think we need to see what we have out of Sam, even if it's 6 games with another offensive coordinator, just to see if we get that first pick, do we need to draft Trevor Lawrence because Sam is not the answer? Or is Sam the guy and we trade out of number 1 and then we get a haul and then we build around him?
Yeah, no. Me personally, I don't think Trevor Lawrence is the way. I think you stay with the kid you have now. You trade down out of that first spot and you get back as much as possible. And like you said earlier in the show, you build this team through the draft, and we got a lot of money coming up next year too again. So just whatever. Look, before you let me go, I've been patient since 1976, since I'm 10 years old with this goddamn team. I know you younger guys don't have the patience that someone like I do, but just be patient and let Douglas do his thing. That's it.
Dude, I hope that's what they do. We gotta have some patience. I know it's a knee-jerk reaction type of world. Sometimes you gotta rip the Band-Aid off. But man, I believe in Joe Douglas. Thank you so much, Grandpa Mark, for calling in. I will talk to you next week, I'm sure. Get a little more insight on where this team could potentially be going. Guys, if you want your shot to win a Just End the Suffering shirt or a 4-pack of Kalo, the Hemp Infused Seltzer that I've been drinking with CBD in it. Answer this question. Who was the player that tore their ACL first in our game? Answer that in my Instagram link down below. Send me a message, and I will raffle that off at the end of the show. Sorry, Vinny. Vinny called in. I tried to answer it, and he went to voicemail. My bad. Man, you guys are not happy with Adam Gase in the chat. Joe Malone says, don't think anyone will trade us enough for Trevor. If Trevor's the next coming of Andrew Luck, or what people are saying, someone's going to give up a haul for him. I don't know if I buy him being the next Andrew Luck.
Call from?
But we'll see.
Matt,
what's good, brother? How you doing tonight?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm trying to hang in there as best I can. What's on your mind?
I'm just concerned with Greg Williams because he was supposed to be the stable part of the team, but his defense has not been up to par. I know there's been injuries at linebacker, but the secondary's been healthy for the most part, and it's just not been that good.
Yeah, from what I've seen, week 1, I was fine with the defense for the most part. I think we definitely hurt with the linebackers not being able to spy Josh Allen. This past week, like yesterday, for me, Alex Ogletree single-handedly ruined that game for that Jets defense. He was the reason they gave up the 80-yard touchdown. He was the reason they gave up the 3rd and 31. And now that doesn't say the whole game, but the 2 biggest momentum swings right off the bat are those 2, and he was awful yesterday.
Yeah, I don't know what happened with Ogletree. That signing didn't really work, but hopefully we get Williamson back into the starting lineup.
Yeah, I'm hoping he's back this week. I thought he was going to be playing this week when they were saying he was practicing, and I was like, oh, okay, this is, we'll at least get someone that can call a defense. I think this defense is going to look a lot better once Williamson's back in there. And then who knows when Peanut comes back.
Yeah. And also, all right, looking at our schedule, I don't know what games we're winning. We have a really tough schedule. What games are we gonna win?
Let me pull it up real quick. I was saying that earlier today. I do not think there's many teams on our schedule that we can beat. Let's rattle it off right now. So first 2 loss, Colts. I don't think there's anything that I've seen in the last 2 weeks that lead me to believe we're going to beat the Colts. Only the Colts playing terribly is how the Jets are going to beat them. The Broncos, they might be without their quarterback. No more Cortland Sutton, no Von Miller. That's a weird kind of game on a Thursday night. I don't think we win on short rest. Then you got Arizona. Arizona looks really good. Don't see that winning. I don't think we can move the ball against the Chargers. The Bills, we're just going to get thumped. Chiefs are going to get thumped. Patriots, I really think the Patriots are going to do well because I think we're going to have issues with those kind of running quarterbacks, that Cam Newton or Josh Allen type quarterback. I think we're going to lose that game. We might be of the games I'm looking at, I would say the Broncos and Colts might be the two most likely wins, and then Miami at week 10. And then it's our bye week. So you're talking like 3-7 at that point at best. More likely like a 1-9 or a 2-8. That's not good. And then you come out of that, and then you start getting teams that you might be able to beat. Like you got the Dolphins again, the Raiders I could see us beating. The Seahawks isn't going to happen. Rams right now is not going to happen. Browns I could see happening, but I think we are by far the least talented team on our schedule.
Yeah. All right, so with Lawrence, I don't get how people think if you put Lawrence into the Jets system right now, he would do any better than Darnold.
I think the only thing I can think of is that he's more of a runner than Sam is. So maybe that's why people are harping on him. But everyone loves the next best thing. Like it's always like the most popular guy in the room is usually the backup quarterback. Because it's like, all right, once your starter's, floundering around, everyone's like, oh, Bryce Petty, he could be the next big thing. Or, oh, Greg McElroy. Or, friggin' basically any backup quarterback is always the popular name, or the next draft pick is going to be the next big thing. So I get where people are coming from with Trevor Lawrence, and I think because of the rookie contract and the way teams win right now with quarterbacks on those rookie deals, there's a discussion to be had. Like Sam going into year 4, about to go off his rookie deal, the Jets may have a better shot at winning a Super Bowl if you have 4 years of Lawrence on a rookie deal as opposed to 1 year of Darnold on a rookie deal. So I get it. I think there's definitely a conversation. I believe in Sam. I need to see it, and I don't know if while Gase is the head coach, I don't know if we're going to get that from him.
I know a lot of Jets fans don't like Adams, but I think he was the one keeping the defense together.
Oh man, maybe to an extent, but I just don't buy him. I'm over Jamal Adams.
You're out of here!
Who's calling in? Who we got?
Call from
Eli.
Oh, Eli, brother, how you doing?
Oh, God, I've been trying to call in all night. It's been rough.
I was wondering when I'd hear from you. Talk to me. What'd you think about the game?
Well, first of all, I want to say, everyone who's watching, if you're not subscribed, get this man to 9K subs, because he's so close.
Oh, so close. I'm right there. I want to say I'm like 60 away from it at this point. And guys, while I'm on it right now, we got 63 likes and we have over 180 people in this chat. Get me up over 100 likes. Come on, guys. I know you can do it because we have the firepower. We have the fan power. If you hate Adam Gase, drop a like. That's what I want to see. I think that's how we get the likes up here. All right, Eli, fire away. What's on your mind?
All right, so I want to say, a lot of Jets fans don't seem to realize this, but it's so obvious. Joe Douglas is obviously tanking for Trevor Lawrence. Like, why would you go into a game with 4 wide receivers when there's guys on the market? He's obviously tanking.
I don't know. I mean, at this point, it's hard for me to say that Douglas wants to tank. That feels weird to think that right now. Because it's not like he's the one causing the injuries, because the injuries are really the biggest issue. I mean, could you imagine if, like, Douglas went to Mosley and was like, yo, opt out. Like, let's get you for next year. Like, let's figure it out. Wow, see, look, we shot up over 100 likes because I said if you hate Adam Gase, drop a like, and then boom.
That's how powerful the hate for him is.
That it really is. It's sad. I feel bad for the guy to an extent, but man, he's kind of earned it. But go on. You were talking about Douglas tanking.
Yeah, so you can't forget, Douglas did not draft Sam Darnold. He doesn't have that loyalty to him. He didn't. Sure. I think the reason he didn't fire Gase is because, like, he got him the job. It would be like if someone gets you a job at a place and then you just fire them right away, even though they're a bad worker. No, you wait a bit and then you fire him. Like, he would cause too much waves in the organization. If within the first few months of him being hired, he fired the guy who literally got him hired.
Sure, yeah. I think there is some loyalty with Douglas and with Gase, but I think it ends after this year. I don't think if there's no growth from anywhere, I don't think the Jets hold on to him. Now, in terms of Joe Douglas tanking, I think there's a part of me that can understand it. You make a good point. Sam Darnold wasn't his draft pick. Now, I do think he took the job because of Sam Darnold. I don't think he knew the Jets were going to be as bad as they are to be able to get into a position to draft Lawrence. I mean, he knew it was going to be a tall task when he came in. It wasn't. That's why he got the 6-year contract, so he can do the team exactly how he wants it. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's weird. I don't buy that he's tanking right now, just because of how this offseason, like he did the 1-year contracts. I think with the pandemic, I think that's why we're not spending money. I think they're waiting for money to roll over. Like I don't know. I have a hard time believing that tanking is what we're currently doing.
I think we can trade Darnold to a team like the Colts or a team like the Steelers. More like the Colts. They have a good offensive line, good weapons, a good coach, a decent defense. I think they can kind of redo his career in a way. Like even the Steelers, once Big Ben goes, I think we can get a 3rd-round pick for Darnold.
If a 3rd-round pick is what we're getting for Sam, I'm not trading him. I would hold on to him because you're more likely to improve his draft stock with him on your team than just trading him for a 3rd. I'd be pretty upset because I really think Sam is going to be a good quarterback, and I would enjoy watching him wherever he went. I would just hope it wouldn't be like in the AFC or like, I don't know. I understand the thought of having to go for Trevor Lawrence. If we wind up with the 1st overall pick, you have to consider trading Sam. I think you'd be silly not to.
Well, he's a generational talent. He's like that Peyton Manning, Andrew Luck guy.
I don't see it. Like I just don't see the Andrew Luck or Peyton Manning in him. I understand why people like him because he runs around. He's got a big arm. I don't know. There's something about the guy that just doesn't strike me the same way that Luck did or that Peyton did. Now I was young when Peyton came out, so I don't quite have that knowledge on him. I don't know. I would be very upset if we got rid of Sam unless we just like bottom falls out.
Well, I uploaded a YouTube video and a Bills fan commented, "Why would you trade? Why would you tank in like the 3rd year?" But I'm like, he's shown zero promise, Sam Darnold. I don't think he's a franchise quarterback because he hasn't shown me anything where I would think he's a franchise quarterback.
I don't believe it. Boom! You're being ejected from the cockpit. Sorry about that. Look, I think there have been times that Sam has shown me that he's a franchise quarterback. Now, I think a lot of that has to do with when it's crunch time and you see him make these pressure throws. It's the stuff in between that really kind of drive me bananas. Like the weird passing. And then you get a play at the end of the game like we saw yesterday where he's like getting tackled. He pulls himself out of a sure sack. He stumbles. He throws the ball like across his body to Berrios and then scores a touchdown. It was a beautiful throw. That is the throw I want to see. I want to see that. I see you guys talking about Trevor Lawrence being the best quarterback prospect since Luck. Sam Darnold was supposed to be the best quarterback prospect since Luck. I don't know. Lame Cactus says prevent defense. Yeah, but prevent defense, no defense is going to hold up for the amount of time that Sam had to run around for to throw that ball. So I don't think the defense necessarily played too much of a part in it. Minecraft Adventure. I'm not trying anymore tonight. I'll try next week. I have the phone lines open. They're there. Guys, we got 10 minutes, so make sure you answer this question. Down in the description below, down on my Instagram, send me a message, answer this question. Who was the player that tore his ACL first in our game against the 49ers? I will raffle off a 4-pack of Kalo and a shirt from the store. So make sure you do that. We can get that out of the way. 184 people in here, guys. I want to see 150 likes. If you want to see Adam Gase fired, drop a like so I'm aware. I want to see. I want to see if that is the overall consensus that we see in the chat. I've seen a lot of people upset. You guys are talking about Saquon. Man, I feel so bad for Saquon. I really like him a lot, and I feel terrible that he tore his ACL. It's going to be rough for him, too. And it's a weird situation for the Giants now, too, because he's out for a year. Running backs have been getting their contracts basically after year 3, because that's just sort of when their primes are. We saw McCaffrey get it. We saw Dalvin Cook get it. Kamara got his. Well, was Kamara 3? Kamara was 3 years. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with Barkley. Do the Giants give him some type of pay bump next year? I think they should. I think that's in good faith. If they don't want to give him the huge contract that some of these other guys signed, I think that's fair too. Giants are going to have an interesting situation on their hands. They're going to have to decide, do they roll with Barkley on his 4th year, cheaper contract, which is probably from a logistical standpoint the way you would want to do that. But it would be at the expense of ticking off your best player. You should try to ink these guys. I hope Saquon's going to be okay. He seems like a workout warrior, so maybe he'll turn around like an Adrian Peterson and just rip off 2,000 yards next year. And then he'll just get paid buku money. That's what I'm seeing. All right, we got one more caller. Who we got?
Call from
Liam.
Oh man, what's up, Liam? How you doing tonight?
I'm doing all right, Ryan. Still recovering from the loss yesterday, but I'm looking forward to the Jets bouncing back in Week 3 versus the Colts.
I hope so. I just want to see some positives here. I don't want to see all the doom and gloom that we've seen the last 2 weeks.
Yeah, well, my first question for you is, or not even a question, it's kind of like a statement, but
sure,
you can just bounce off of it. So this whole Adam Gase, bullshit could have honestly been avoided very easily if back in the beginning of the beginning of the league year in 2018, the Johnsons would have just fired Mike McCagnon before they made all the free agent moves and the draft. They could have brought in Joe Douglas if it's hard to tell if they would have brought him in then, but he could have brought in his head coach, and then we could have had Sam Darnold and been off and going.
Yeah, the biggest issue that I've had with this team was letting McCagnon make those picks when you knew you were going to get rid of him. That's what it felt like they did. Now that said, if they didn't know what they were going to do or they had a hunch, there's certain aspects of it that kind of make sense from a scouting department. I would still pull the plug on him and then use his current scouting department to kind of figure out what players you like and don't like. But man, this team could look so much different if Adam Gase wasn't the head coach. Imagine if McCarthy was our head coach or Cliff Kingsbury. Both those guys could have been our head coach.
Yeah, well, but we're stuck with the crazy-eyed Adam Gase, so you got to live with it.
Dude, he is just huffing bath salts on the friggin' sideline, and it's just I don't know what to expect from this guy. I don't know. He's hot and cold. Oh, I wouldn't change a single play call. That's an arrogant douchebag, if you're asking me. You're telling me you wouldn't change a play call, so you're saying, okay, it's Sam's fault? And at times it is. It's absolutely Sam's fault. He's missed wide open wide receivers. There was a play where he rolled out of bounds in the Buffalo game behind the line of scrimmage. Both Perriman and Crowder were both wide open.
Yep.
I just believe most of it is on Adam Gase.
Yeah, well, I kind of want to talk about the defense a little bit because yesterday we got torn to shreds by a 30-year-old Jordan Reed that back in it's not 2015 anymore on the Redskins, or now they're called the football team, but Marcus May, I know that he had a good Pro Football Focus grade, but he kept getting beat by Jordan Reed, and he kept strolling in the end zone.
I think so. The 2 touchdowns he got, one was a very well defended play by May. He caught it. That was the second touchdown. I was impressed with the way that catch was made. I didn't think May could have better coverage aside from just knocking the ball down. But he had his hands all over him. The first one, it's on May, but it's also on, I don't know who else was on that side. If it was Desir or I don't think it was Austin. But the 2 Jet defenders ran into each other. And so May could not have been in position because of the pick play. So they have to realize it. They have to know that they should be switching off, or at least being aware that, like, hey, okay, you go to my right, I go to your left. Or my right and your left, you'd wind up running into each other. You both go right or you both go left when you're running at each other, and then you avoid contact. And it just seems like it's not quite there from a leadership aspect. It feels like we're missing assignments on things. On defense, for sure.
Yeah, right. Well, and as you were saying before, like for Gase, the stubbornness, we still haven't seen like many, if at all, 2 tight end sets with Griffin and Herndon on the field. Doing some crossing routes over the middle of the field. Let's see some of that, Adam Gase. Come on. Dude,
it took us until we were down to our final 2 wide receivers on our roster to start using the tight ends more frequently. Like, that's frustrating. Like, Herndon and Griffin seem like they should be the 2 guys right now when we don't have receiving weapons, we don't have Bell. Those are the 2 that should be getting the majority of the playing time. And just, like, looks in general. It seems like Sam was comfortable with both of them.
Yeah, well, I know I'm about to get kicked off, but, I'm just hoping for a good week next week. Let's build off of it. Hopefully we can get out of here and we can build off of a win next week at the Colts.
Fingers crossed, brother. Thank you so much for the call. All right, guys. We are at the end of our show, so I have to pick someone to win a 4-pack of Kalo, the Hemp Infused Seltzer that has been so generously provided to me by Kalo, and a Just End the Suffering t-shirt. And it looks like we got a bunch of people, ton of people, that sent in the correct answer. There was a Joey Bosa thrown in there, so that is wrong. Let's see. Yeah, no, I think everyone pretty much got it. It was really literally just one that was one that's wrong. All right, guys. So let's do this. Rattle off a number 1 through 10, and then give me a number 1 through 13. So it'll be the first 2 numbers that I see, 1 through 10 and 1 through 13. Who we got? There's a 6. Nope. Not looking at the 4. 6 and a 4. Let's do 6 and 13. 6 and 13. So that way it's close enough. All right. So first up, the correct answer for our trivia question of the day: who was the first player to tear their ACL for the New York Jets? It was Nick Bosa, not Joey Bosa. Joey Bosa plays for the Chargers. V-Man, thank you so much for the super chat. He said, just to let you know, I was the creepy call around Halloween. I will call with a creepy music box. Oh, I figured that was probably you. I hung up because I didn't feel like dealing with that. Just say your name next time. Bosa is a fine answer, so I will accept Bosa if you said Bosa. No issues there. All right, so our first winner of the day, who is getting the 4-pack of Kalo, P. Ward. P. Ward, you are going to be our first one to get the Kalo. Make sure you reach out to me. I need to make sure you are over 18 and within the United States. Those are like the 2 things that I have to check on to make sure that's good. In terms of the shirt, let's see how we want to do the shirt. The shirt was 10. I think we're doing so. Or no, it was 13. 13 was the number we're doing. So if we're going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. All right. So the winner of the shirt this week is going to be Bob Crivita. Krivda. Oof, words. Sorry. I'm sure I butchered your name. But make sure you reach out to me. Let me get your contact info and everything, and I'll send you a Just End the Suffering t-shirt. Guys, that is going to be just about it for me tonight. I will have a video up shortly. I shouldn't say shortly. I haven't filmed it yet. But I'll have a video sort of with my takeaways from the game, or first 5 reactions. It's probably not going to be very long. It's not a whole lot that I can really say about this. But make sure you tune in tomorrow for our Talking Jets panel. It'll be me, Green Bean, and Matt talking all this stuff about the New York Jets. Also, if you guys don't want to kill your phone battery and you want to still listen to the Talking Jets panel, it's not live, but you will be able to listen to it the next day. In the description, the top link is a link to my podcast, which is the Talking Jets podcast. So that will be how you could reach out, or not reach out. That's how you can listen to it if you don't want to kill your phone battery. So just another way to consume your Jets talk information. But guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you drop a like if you like the content. Helps people that haven't seen the channel before know that it's a good channel. Or hopefully it's a good channel. Hopefully you like it. Guys, it's been real. I will see you tomorrow. JETS.